My name is Buddy Richardson, and I've been a Forgiven Felon since December the 17th of 2024. I just recently left Forgiven Felons house and to transition to my new life. My story begins literally about the end of last year whenever I applied to Forgiven Felons. We went through the whole application process, and Jadan accepted me. And when I got to the Forgiven Felons house, I really struggled. I had a very hard time finding a job and getting situated. And so the guys at the house were very supportive, and Jadan and his family were very supportive. And at first, I thought I was just gonna breeze through it and everything. But the thing is I don't like accountability, and I don't like somebody checking over me. And since I was the oldest person there, I feel like a lot of times, like, you know what, this is a bunch of bull. I got so mad at Jadan several times. I would just like, he and I actually even had an argument. But you know what? Every single situation was an opportunity for me to grow. I was at the DPS office one day, and I was there getting my permit for my driver's license. Brandon Kopic had dropped me off there and was heading to get business cards right here, one of our business cards. And he met Russ, and Russ was in need of an employee. He was in a crunch. And so Brandon came and got me, and we came up here, and I met Russ and Carrie and automatically fell in love with them. They were so kind to me and so gracious. And Russ said, why don't you come up tomorrow and I'll share my testimony with you, and I want to hear your testimony. I came up the next day and I told Russ, I said, I am technically challenged. I think this is going to be too much for me. And he said, we'll work through that. And he was very patient with me, and they've become my family now, just like Forgiven Felons. Like I said, I'm Forgiven Felon alumni.
So my name is Russ Kellman, and I'm a retired school teacher who bought this business just over a year ago. It was not my intention to, but the Lord led me down here to end up buying this business. And my whole idea was I was going to hire former students to work here with me. And I had a young man who was working for me. He was going to work for me for a year, but 7 months in, he found a job back in the thing he wanted to do, and so I had no employee. And one day I was in here, I was working, and Brendan came in, and I was getting his cards, and I was trying to answer the phones and do everything. And I apologized to him, said, I'm so sorry, but I lost my employee. And he goes, are you looking for somebody? And I said, yes, I am. And he goes, I have somebody who could be great. He's a wonderful person. He works real hard. He's just having a hard time getting a job because he just got out of prison. And I said, that's all right. I used to work in a prison. And I said, send him in. So he came in, and I met him, and we had a long conversation, and I just liked who he was, and I showed him what we did. I'll never forget it. We were standing here, and I was showing him what we do, and he looked at me and he goes, oh, I can't do that. That's way too much. And I went, I know. That's exactly how I felt when I first started here. I said, but don't worry, we'll get it going. So I said, if you want to start, let's start. So we started on March 17th. It was his first day, and he's been here ever since, and he's just an outstanding employee. Actually, more importantly, he's an outstanding person. And that's what I love, is that he works really hard, and he cares. And he does what our whole business is. We try to care for people. Whoever walks in that door, God has brought them to us, and our job is to love them into the kingdom by serving them. So I'm really grateful. Grateful he's here.
The first week, I went home several times, and I literally went to my room. I was so worn out, and I was overwhelmed to such a degree that I told Justin, I literally started crying one time. I said, this is too much. I can't handle it. My brain's frying out with too much information. And Justin and Gator got together and prayed over me every chance they got. They're like, you got this, you got this. And I am so grateful to their faithfulness, and because I really just wanted to quit. I felt like I wanted to go back to SEG, because that was my comfort zone, is away from people, and I was overwhelmed, but I just kept pushing forward. I kept asking the Lord, this is too much for me. And he's like, you just just grow up, suck it up. You gotta get tough. And that's what happened. I went through the grind every day. I was taking an hour and 45-minute commute one way every morning and every afternoon at first on the bus and train, and I grew to love it, really. I grew to love my time with the Lord, walking to work, and everything has paid off. It's faithfulness to the Lord has paid off, and none of this would even been possible if the Lord hadn't put Forgiven Felons in my life.
Well, that first week or so, I knew when I first came here, it was overwhelming. I was overwhelmed. There was so many things that I didn't know. I hadn't done this before. I mean, I'd worked in design and, as a teacher in that, and there were so many things to learn. And the big thing is you want to help the people who walk in the door. And the hardest thing is when you don't feel like you have the skills to help those people. And I think that's where Buddy struggles. It's not that he can't do it, is he doesn't want to disappoint people, because Buddy likes to care for people. And when he feels like he's not doing that, he feels down. And so I knew exactly how he felt, because I felt the exact same way. I mean, I was like, I felt that exact same way. So every time he mentioned it to me, I said, I know, that's how I felt. And I said, we'll get through this. And I kept reminding him, there's no mistake that you can make that we can't push through. The only thing I can't handle is if you don't try. That's all I want you to do is try. He's learning how to do all the stuff on the art boards and get stuff ready. He's in for production, so he helps print all our cards. He helps run them through our cutter. He learned how to use the big machines back there, how to cut them. Basically, I want Buddy to be able to do everything in this store that I do.
This job is Christ-centered. Every morning when we get here, he and I don't answer the phone. We don't answer the door. We don't answer anything until we sit down and have prayer with the Lord Jesus. Without Forgiven Felons, it's like I say, every time I've gotten out before, I've gone back to gang activity, criminality, and Forgiven Felons was my safe haven. I even told Jaydan, I don't really want to leave Forgiven Felons, because this is where I feel safe from the world.
When I heard about Forgiven Felons, when Brandon told me and I heard about the program, I was like automatically, first of all, I love the name. When I realized it was a place where they could go and they would get support to get them on track where they need to be, I was like, oh, I'm in. And so actually I went there right away. I got a chance to go in and see the facility and meet the guys. And I just was like, this needs to be happening everywhere.
Yeah.
Because you just can't let them guys out and go back to where you were, because then they don't have that net around to help them. And I so appreciate the fact that he has like Gator, like Jaydan, like Justin, all these guys who care for him, because that's really important, because we all need that support system. And he's become part of our family. I'm part of his, and so is Forgiven Felons. And it's just, I mean, I believe in what they're doing. I think it's critical. And who knows what the Lord is going to do with us. I mean, if we can hire more guys, I'm in.
I'm grateful for many things. I would say the thing that I am most grateful for right now is Jaydan and the girls and Snowman and my Forgiven Felons brothers. And I'm grateful for Russ and Carrie, because and their family, because this is my family now.
First of all, I'm grateful to the Lord for how he directs our lives. When we don't deserve it, he does. And so I am so thankful for Forgiven Felons and the fact that they go and help people who desperately need help. And so I'm very thankful for that. And of course, I couldn't be any more thankful for Buddy. He's become a great friend, and he's not only a good employee, but just a great friend. And I'm glad who he is as a person. So I'm thankful.
And none of this would even been possible if the Lord hadn't put Forgiven Felons in my life.